All new tonight, it has never happened before. A first in the 149-year history of Churchill Downs, and tonight, the track's decision to end the spring meet early in Louisville is making national news. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Right now on the WHAS11 night team, it comes after the deaths of 12 racehorses. After Sunday, Churchill is moving the rest of its spring meet to western Kentucky. Take a look. It's going to be heading about 2 hours west of Louisville to Ellis Park. That's on the Ohio River in Henderson, Kentucky. You see it right here. Churchill also owns Ellis Park. In fact, they bought it last September. Churchill will run the races scheduled for this weekend, but then Sunday will be the final day, and racing will resume at Ellis Park starting next Saturday and run through the rest of the meet, which lasts until July 3rd. In a statement, Churchill Downs says the moves comes out of an abundance of caution, saying in part about the famed Louisville race surface, quote, "No single factor has been identified as a potential cause, and no discernible pattern has been detected to link the fatalities at the track." WHAS 11 night team's Taylor Woods and photojournalist Elijah McKenzie talked to fans who say the move is hard to believe.
The last race at Churchill Downs just before 5 on Friday. Horse racing fans like Terry Lair celebrating her wedding anniversary.
Oh, I love it here. All I can do is think about Secretariat actually ran here in 1973.
As the horses headed out of the gate, the news was also breaking. This Sunday, the spring meet will be ending early. Churchill is shutting down the races here and moving the rest of the meet to Ellis Park, its track in western Kentucky.
I hate to see races go to another park. This is a special track.
Fans say the draw of the famed Churchill experience is why they are here.
I think it should stick here.
Experts examined the track and reported there are no primary areas of concern, saying it has been consistent with previous years. And with the races moving to Ellis Park, horse racing fans tell me it's hard to see these stands now empty after so many historic races. The most famous place in horse racing is what drew this group of guys from Philadelphia to celebrate their friend's bachelor party.
It's like a historic landmark.
Most fans in agreement that the safety for the horses is the priority, but location should never be the blame.
I think there could be other precautions taken, but I don't think they should take it away from this track.
So after Sunday's final race, the spring meet is over in Louisville.
I don't know what's going on. I hope that we can revive the sport.
Fans say they will continue to support their favorite horses, no matter where they race. At Churchill Downs, Taylor Woods, WHAS 11 night team on your side.
Fans aren't the only ones shocked tonight by the move. The Kentucky Horsemen's Benevolent and Protective Association, which represents owners and trainers, released this statement saying horsemen question the purpose of this unprecedented step, especially without conclusive evidence that there is a problem with the racetrack at Churchill Downs. Drastic steps such as relocating an active spring meet should only be considered when it is certain to make a difference. Well, as part of a WHAS 11 News Focus investigation that we aired this week, we were recently on the Churchill track with an investigator who was analyzing the surface. So far, not one single common cause has linked the 12 deaths since April. But today, Focus investigator John Charlton learned what may be some potential pieces to that puzzle.
When Churchill Downs requested a re-inspection of its track, Focus was there for an exclusive look at that testing last week. Led by University of Kentucky professor and racecourse surfaces engineer Dr. Mick Peterson.
Any level of risk for the horse is unacceptable.
Focus has learned that the same equipment returned Thursday to check the track one more time, as well as to assist Dennis Moore with laser measurements. Moore, a renowned track superintendent out of California, performed his own analysis at the request of the Horse Racing Integrity and Safety Authority, or HISA. Although the analysis is pending, Focus has learned from Peterson that there still are no obvious red flags of anything wrong with the track. However, Peterson added that trainers at Churchill have complained about small rocks on the track, concentrated by the new first turn seating. A horse trainer confirmed this to Focus and said crews were actually out on the track yesterday with buckets picking up the rocks. He also said trainers have been concerned about the rocks on the track for a few years for the obvious reason of horses stepping on them and causing injury. Meanwhile, the investigation of the cluster of horse deaths is ongoing. with no clear answers on why it's happening.
We're beginning to pull this data together. Now we need to understand what's happening, especially in these clusters of injuries.
John Charlton, WHAS11, on your side.
Churchill Downs bought Ellis Park back in September for $79 million in cash. Ellis Park celebrated 100 years of racing last year and typically plays host to a summer meet. It was supposed to start its season this year in July. Again, to recap today's breaking developments, the spring meet at Churchill will end this Sunday with the final race. The post time for that race, number 10, is 5:26 p.m. Sunday. The track will then conduct a top-to-bottom review of all safety and surface protocols and integrity measures in collaboration and consultation with nationwide experts. Well, happening tonight, it is closed. Officially underway, the great I64 westbound shutdown. It's a long stretch that's going to impact many drivers for 2 long weeks. The cones are up, and take a good look. You're looking live as crews begin their work already on the westbound lanes of the interstate, starting from the Watterson in the east and running right toward downtown to Story Avenue in the Butchertown neighborhood. Crews will begin repaving the interstate, replacing guardrails, and replacing the broken concrete pavement in the Cochran Hill Tunnel with new pavement. Again, you see the westbound lanes on the left of your screen. Kentucky transportation officials say this work is long overdue.
One important thing to note about this project, people always ask us, why are we shutting it down completely in that one direction? Well, the advantage is that we can pave both lanes at the same time. We call it echelon paving. We get a nice hot joint between those 2 lanes that lasts a lot longer than if we maintain traffic on one lane and paved on the other lane.
Well, they've got all the hot they need the next several days. So what should you do? Take the Watterson to I-71 South, then back over to I-64 West. Once this work is finished, you guessed it, they're going to close I-64 eastbound to start the same work on June 16th. We want to tell you about a developing story. A propane leak in Crawford County, Indiana tonight is causing some residents to be evacuated there in southern Indiana. The Crawford County Sheriff's Office tells us the leak is from a propane tank at a propane station on Shelton Road. At least 2 homes were evacuated. Others are being told to stay inside their homes as a precaution. But the Sheriff's Office does tell us tonight that there's been no explosion and no one is hurt. The gas utility is on the scene. The Big 4 bridge lights across the Ohio River downtown are orange tonight in recognition of National Gun Violence Awareness Today. Earlier today, Moms Demand Action, gun violence survivors, and Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg all spoke on the issue in front of Metro Hall. In Louisville alone, Metro Police have responded to more than 180 non-fatal shootings and 73 homicides. Today, survivors talked about the lasting grief these deaths leave in our city, state, and across the country.
Should not be burying our future. Our children should not be scared to sit out on the porch and enjoy a day. We should not duck and hide when a car rides by and it's loud and pop, but we do.
Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg says he's having conversations with Republican lawmakers in Frankfort on gun reform laws for Kentucky. New right now with the night team, the Kentucky Attorney General's office is taking over the murder case against Stephen Shinshang, accused of killing a Scott County deputy in Georgetown, Kentucky. Deputy Caleb Conley was shot and killed during a traffic stop on I-75 in Scott County, just outside Lexington last week. According to WTVQ in Lexington, the judge requested that the Attorney General's office take over the case. After the shooting on the interstate, police say Shinshang went on a crime spree, stealing a couple's van in Lexington, then shooting another man during a carjacking. Today, Shinshang made his first in-person court appearance on those charges. A Lexington police detective testified that a woman was with the suspect during the incidents.
And she confirmed that they were stopped in Scott County. Mr. Shinshang had told her that this was not going to end well, and that she heard a shot there.
That woman is currently not facing any charges. President Joe Biden addressing the nation tonight at 7 o'clock after Congress passed the bipartisan budget agreement that cuts federal spending and suspends the borrowing limit until 2025. Speaking from the Oval Office, President Biden called the deal good for America. The agreement was hashed out by the president and House Speaker Republican Kevin McCarthy. Tonight, the president praised the work across the aisle.
I know bipartisanship is hard and unity is hard, but we can never stop trying. Because in moments like this one, the ones we just faced, where the American economy and the world economy is at risk of collapsing, there's no other way. No matter how tough our politics gets, we need to see each other not as adversaries, but as fellow Americans.
Overall, the bill restricts spending for the next 2 years and changes some policies. Those include imposing new work requirements for older Americans receiving food aid and greenlighting an Appalachian natural gas pipeline that many Democrats oppose.